whispers, no hiding places, no secret sister. Been looking for a house that won't shelter a lie. No tear-stained past or reason to cry.
This is Empowering Women Everywhere, and I'm your guest, Nan Gill. And today we have a wonderful guest by the name of Connie Wehmeyer, who is an amazing person who I've known for, I can't even remember how many years. It goes way back.
1999.
She remembers. You see how wonderful she is? Here I am, not knowing how many years, and I'm not even going to do the math. But
No, don't do the math.
It's been forever. So Connie is a New York State licensed massage therapist. She's an aromatherapist, and she has a degree from the Center of Homeopathic Education based in London. And she's the owner of Subtle Energies Holistic Health Center just outside of Sugarloaf, New York. Connie, welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
It's so wonderful to have you.
Great.
So you want to tell us a little bit about your business and what you do at Subtle Energies?
Well, we started out doing mainly massage and aromatherapy.
Okay.
And when I opened, it was going to be me. My plan was it was going to be me.
We all have plans.
By appointment, 3 days a week.
Okay.
Okay. And actually, what happened on opening day, there were 3 of us working there, and we've been open 6 days a week ever since.
Okay.
And then sometimes 7 if I'm teaching that weekend. We do a wide variety of massages. I myself specialize in craniosacral and lymph drainage massage and
Wait.
reflexology.
Don't go so fast. Tell me, what's craniosacral?
Oh, okay. Craniosacral works with the head and the sacrum, the craniosacral.
Okay.
And what its purpose is to help people repair from brain or spinal cord injuries.
Oh, wow. That's
And
major.
That could be something as simple as hitting your head when you get in the car, that it knocks something off, to as severe as being in a traumatic accident or even having brain surgery and then not being quite right afterwards. And
What about stroke patients?
stroke patients, yes, I work with them a lot too.
Oh, my goodness. And how does it work? How does the cranium...
It helps to balance the way the cerebral spinal fluid flows through your brain
Oh, okay.
and up and down your spinal cord.
Wow.
And so sometimes if there's some damage to that system, for instance, if you have a head trauma and then scar tissue forms, then some parts of your brain might not be working as well as like the left side
Right.
might not be getting the correct flow, so it may not be working as well. And it can look like you have other kinds of diseases. It could look like you have MS, muscular dystrophy. You could be like you're autistic.
Right.
And I mean, it's not that those aren't real diseases in themselves, but sometimes just the way the part of the brain that's damaged will mimic other diseases, and we can help correct that. I use it when I'm working on children that have limp baby syndrome, for instance, to help get the blood flow and the cerebral spinal fluid flow through the brain properly.
Wow. So where did you learn that?
I learned that at the Upledger Institute. They teach classes all over the country, and then once you get to the higher levels of classes, you go down to West Palm Beach or Palm Beach Gardens in Florida.
Okay.
And for the higher level classes, I've
So
been
you
going
don't
there a
just
lot.
you just keep studying. I know you.
I do. I keep studying all the time. That's actually how I got into the homeopathy. Is I was getting people quite often that with all of the aromatherapy training I had, with all of the massage training I had, we still couldn't help them as much as I wanted to.
Right.
And different things would happen that would bring homeopathy to the forefront.
Right.
And we would try it, it would work. And finally I said, I have to go to school for this. And so I went to school for 4 years and got my degree in that. And I've been doing homeopathy as part of my practice now for a few years.
Right. Well, I don't think we have time in our half hour
No.
to find out all about everything that you do and know.
Mm-hmm.
But tell us a little bit about how you got started in your business.
Well, I actually had been a computer programmer for, at that time, 20 years. And my father-in-law had Parkinson's, so I took vacation from
Right.
IBM, company I worked at, and and went to school for foot reflexology. Well, I found out I loved it. Right? There's no politics. The person feels good. They're grateful. What a change from corporate life.
Right, and you're doing something
Useful.
beneficial.
Yes, and beneficial.
For individual people.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. And so once I got tired of all the politics associated with corporate life, I decided to leave and go to massage school, because if I wanted to do foot reflexology in New York State, I had to have a massage license to be legal.
Okay.
And so
it's always better to be legal.
always better to be legal. And so I made my plans. I saved up money for the year I'd be going to school and some startup time.
Yeah, if you know Connie like I do, she plans everything.
Yeah, I do, but you have to be flexible too, you know.
Right, exactly.
And I went to massage school, and about 3 days into massage school, I thought, well, this is as much fun as reflexology. And so I ended up, taking, of course, this at the Swedish Institute, the New York State info stuff. And then I found that I was really drawn to the craniosacral and the lymph drainage, and so I started doing those.
You did something with me years ago called Brain Speaks.
Yes, that's part of the advanced craniosacral work, where you actually go in and talk to cells in the brain to find out what's wrong. We can do that with all parts of the body.
Yeah.
I still do that quite often, and I'm finding it's been very, very helpful with this epidemic we seem to be having of people that have, I forget the word, panic attacks.
Panic attacks.
That is almost epidemic, especially with young adults. I'm getting at least a person a week.
And what happens when you go in? What do you usually find?
It's different things that affect them. And sometimes it's a result of an accident, sometimes it's some sort of trauma, sometimes it's a loss. I had one little boy that was afraid to get on the school bus.
Right.
And it turned out it was because he was very little during 9/11, and his dad had watched the TV constantly. And he was afraid if he got on the school bus and went to school, when he came home, his parents would be dead.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah.
And you were able to tell that from Brain Speaks?
Yeah, that's what we did. And then we're sending back to a psychologist, and she was able to work through it, and he got better and was able to go to school and lead a normal life.
That's phenomenal. I'm surprised more people don't go to you. I mean, it's like an epidemic.
Well, I'm getting more and more of the people with that. But yeah, it does seem to be. But I realized that all of these people in that age group, like say 15 to 30,
right,
they were little kids, or they have actually never lived when America wasn't under terrorist attack or terrorist threat. So they've sort of grown up in like a perceived war zone. And they're also finding, through some of the psychological work and studies they've done, that panic attacks and stress like that, post-traumatic stress, can be acquired. You don't have to actually have been in the event, but just the amount of media coverage and people being...
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
It makes a lot of sense once you hear that. It's like, as soon as I heard it, I'm like, this explains so much. So.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. So anyway, so I use the Brain Speaks a lot for that, and sometimes just for minor things. And sometimes it really is, the problem isn't mental or emotional. It's actually a physical thing where the body has stuck a memory. And that sounds weird, but like if you have someone come up and they touch you on the shoulder, it might bring a really happy smile to your face because it reminds you of like your grandmother used to come up and tap you on the shoulder, or it might bring fear because maybe someone grabbed you, and
you were afraid you were going to get kidnapped. Yeah. So there's so much.
There's so much in there.
Okay, so you do craniosacral, you do regular massage, you do reflexology, and what's the basic for reflexology? I guess what does that do for you?
Oh, okay. Well, first it helps with overall relaxation.
Okay.
But you have 2,300 nerves that go through each foot that also attach to other parts of your body. Sometimes you actually have nerves also that stay in your foot, but these other nerves. And what happens, like for instance, so you eat a big meal,
Right.
So your stomach tells your brain, oh man, this person ate like a pig. I need a lot of energy to digest all this food.
Right.
So the brain sends out 100% charge of electrical energy to go to the stomach to help it work.
Right.
Well, part of those nerves go through the foot. If you have debris in your foot, say you've been ill and your body didn't eliminate all of the toxins that
Right.
these cells made as they died, say you had an injury to your foot. Well, as that nerve, if it affects that nerve, then maybe you only get 50% of the energy that comes to your stomach. So then you don't digest your food right.
Oh, okay.
Then you start having stomach aches and other problems, acid reflux. So by working on the feet,
This is
and
amazing.
it's so exciting. Every day I go to work and it's like, oh wow, what's going to happen today? It's like
a new project.
It is, and you never really know who the universe is going to send you to work on and what's going to be wrong with them.
Right.
And then you have to use like every creative thing you can think of, and sometimes that's not enough, and that's when you go take other classes.
So tell me a little bit about some of the great things or the wonderful experiences you've had, or how you've helped some people amazingly. So I want to hear about some of your stories.
Well, I have a few, and one of my favorites is, of course, we always believe that we balance the body, or we give it what it needs so that it heals itself.
Right.
That's one of the big things that really frightened me with some of the alternative natural medicine people, though we get it in the regular medical too, is like, I can heal you. Well,
Right.
no, you can only balance things and hope that the person's body heals itself.
Right.
But I had a gentleman come in, and he's like in his 50s, not that old, and he was very weak. When the first day I worked on him, I really was afraid he was going to die on my table. And he just came in for some Reiki, which I teach. I'm a Reiki master, and he just wanted some Reiki. So I was working on him, and he said, "Yeah, I was on the liver transplant list at a hospital in the city, but they have to put me on hold because the doctor said I would die during the surgery. I'm too weak."
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, oh, of course my thought is, please don't die on my table, And so I said, okay. So I did some Reiki on him. We talked about homeopathy a little bit. Very intelligent man, and very well versed in natural medicines. And he did a lot of meditating and stuff. So we started treating him with the craniosacral and with Reiki and with reflexology and homeopathy. And he got better and better. After a while, his voice came back. At first it sounded like a ghost.
Right.
His voice came back. He could walk straight. He didn't have to have a walker. And he couldn't go back to work. He wasn't that healthy, but he could lead a fairly normal life.
Yeah.
And he finally got to where he could be on the transplant list. And during all this, everything we were doing or giving him, he cleared with his doctor.
Right,
at the
which
hospital.
you want them to do anyway.
Absolutely. Especially in a case like that, where the person was that weak. So he did eventually, from the medicines they were giving him to prepare for the transplant, he did actually get so sick from them. He became...
From the medication.
Yeah, and understandable. But we would keep treating him, help him feel a little better.
You wonder what would have happened if he didn't take all those medicines and just was treated.
Yeah, you don't know.
You don't know.
He was in pretty bad shape, but he might have made it through. But he did make it 3.5 years.
Right.
And he got back on the transplant list. They actually called him. They had a liver that was his blood type, and he said, I just can't live with the side effects of the medicines.
The medication.
He goes, I'm ready to go. I've got 3 more years than you thought. And so he did pass away. And at his funeral...
But it was his choice.
It was his choice.
Yeah.
But the doctor had been really great working with him, I tell you. And but at the funeral, his wife told us, she says, well, my husband, we really appreciate you gave us all those extra years together. And I said, yeah. And she goes, well, he didn't have long to live when he first came to you. And I said, yeah, that's what he said. I said, I got the impression it was like a few months. And she goes, no, the doctors had given him 3 weeks outside. And I was like, oh, I'm glad I didn't know that at the time. But he did, and they became very good friends with us.
Right.
And it was really enjoyable experience.
Right. Now, also, you told me about a baby that had come in.
It was a little baby that had several brain surgeries in the first year of life. It had like 14 brain surgeries, I think. And it had become a limp baby, probably from all the scar tissue, I'm guessing, in the brain. And it had become a limp baby. And they had, when they pick her up, it was like picking up a stuffed toy.
Right.
You know, it was like,
Didn't move.
Didn't, and so we worked on her a half hour, almost every week. Her parents were great. This is one of the things with kids. The parents have to really be supportive and bring them in, you know, on a regular basis. They brought this little baby in. Immediately, all of the other therapists, the OT, the PT, the speech therapists, all started to see minor changes, and then they got bigger and bigger. Pretty soon she could move her arms, she could move her legs.
Oh my.
And then one day, they had been on vacation for a week, so I hadn't seen her for 2 weeks. And her mom walked in, and she said, stand there, you got to see this. Because when the mom walked in by herself, I'm like, oh no, you know.
Right.
And she says, you got to see this. She opens the door, and the father's holding the little girl, she's like 2 years old at this time, holding her up, and she could motor on her own legs. She didn't have her balance yet.
Oh my goodness.
But she hadn't said anything but like words like tree, dog, and that made no sense to, you know. And she walked all the way into my massage table and said, please put me on the table. We were all in tears. It was so beautiful. And that little girl, I worked on her for a little bit longer, and you know, but they didn't need me that much longer. And she ended up, I guess, about 4th grade. She mainstreamed into school, and I saw them because they come in and buy the mother gift certificate every year. And apparently the only thing that's wrong is she wears very thick glasses, and if she didn't have to do gym, you know, gymnastic. And when she gets real tired, her one leg drags, a little limp. And other than that, she's leading a very normal life. To me, that was like priceless. Yes.
So, anything else?
Well, I have one that's a lot less dramatic, and something that's much more common.
Okay.
And I had a lady come in. She'd been she'd been in a car accident, was fairly serious, and she broke her arm in several places. And after several months of PT, this was like several months, not just 6 weeks.
How did she break her arm?
She was in a car accident, and the bag broke her arm in like 7 places. And she could come in, and she could only move her arm about an inch or two away, like, you know, from her body. She couldn't even, like, she'd have to have help getting her clothes on and stuff. And after one session of doing a special craniosacral technique that you also use on other parts of the body, we were able to loosen the muscles that were really deep.
Right.
And she walked out of the session able to raise her arm over her head.
Oh my goodness.
So, and we've been friends ever since.
It's amazing. I don't blame her. So what are the biggest challenges that you face?
Well, some of the biggest ones are people who are on a lot of medications. Sometimes it makes them not be able to feel things properly, and they want you to like work so deep that it would be damaging to them. And trying to explain that to them. Or people who, at the first sign of the minorest thing, run to the doctor for medication. Because then anything that we might want to do is colored by that. Yeah, and masked by that. The second is, and this just has been happening recently in homeopathy, I got an email from someone that showed, and it said, homeopathy is now a $1 billion business in America. Well, you know, 5 or 10 years ago, nobody even heard of it, you know. And
well, it works.
Well, it does work, and it's taking, the whole key is in the title, right? $1 billion. So now some of the FDA and the powers that be and some of our like pharmaceutical and other industries want to have it outlawed until they can prove that it's safe, even though it's been safe for 250 years. No one's died from it.
Yeah. Well, they want to interfere with what you're doing.
Well, because you're hitting them in the pocketbook.
Yeah.
And this happens a lot. For a while there was ear candling, which one of the people does at my place, but I don't do that. But like ear candling, all of a sudden it became, oh, this could be dangerous, or this, that. Then there's vitamins, which...
What does ear candling do?
It just helps to, if people have real deep wax in their ear, so they don't have to go to the doctors and get syringed or have different stuff.
Okay.
It just pulls the air. It involves fire, so I don't like to do it, because you have to you have to light the candle. But there are, but different things like that. We
gotta do cranial sacking on you to find out what you're afraid of fire from.
I know. Well, I trust all of them. I have a very healthy respect for all of Mother Nature's forces. So,
right, definitely.
Fire, water, whatever. But anyway, when you start interfering with other people's livelihood, especially if it's something that, like, they make a lot of money for very little input,
right?
Then you usually start having problems.
So did they say you can't practice homing?
Oh, it's just start. The thing is just starting where they're trying to stop it. I mean, they do this in England all the time. When the budget for their whole homeopathic things, which is part of their insurance
their
system,
health insurance, right,
is equal to how much they pay. The health insurance system pays for one medication.
Right.
For the year for people is one medication, not counting all the doctors and the nurses and the surgeries. Right. The one medication is equal to the whole homeopathic budget, and the homeopathic people are really helping people all the time.
Yeah.
So not that it does everything, and not that what we do does everything.
No, and you don't tell them not to go to the doctor.
Absolutely
you
not.
Work with the doctor.
Yeah, because a lot of times there are issues. I mean, like we worked with this doctor down at that big hospital in the city on my friend with a liver problem. Right. We said, this is the homeopathic we're giving him, this is why, blah, blah, blah.
And then you checked with him to make sure that it was okay with what they were doing.
Yeah.
Right? And that it didn't interfere.
The only time something like that, and even the aromatherapy and the massage interferes, is sometimes if a person is on a medication and they start getting better, like say they're on insulin, and you're starting to work on them and they start getting better and they don't need as much, they have to, everyone's got to be on board so that the person's medication can change as needed.
Right. Not needed.
Or as not needed, yes, as not needed. And that's what we work for. And like I say, what we do doesn't handle 100% of everything, but it can handle a lot more than what people realize.
Right. Yeah. So what are some of the products that you offer?
Well, I do all my own design for my aromatherapy products, and we make them on site.
Okay.
And so I brought some today, conveniently. So we have two different labels. One, we were planning on doing a girls line, like to sell at like the colleges and stuff. Right. And so we ended up with two different kinds of labels. So this is our girly label, but all the products come with both labels. This is energy clearing. Okay. And a lot of people like to use it for, they had somebody over at their house, or they're at work and somebody like really nasty comes in their office. They can spread the energy clearing. And we get a lot of good reports on that. The others are Happy Mist. Okay. And I actually developed that I started developing it for some little kids who had anger issues. And I thought, well, I can't put like anger as a name. Since it made them happy, I named it Happy Mist. Okay. I'm very young.
So if you're angry, it makes you happy.
Yeah, exactly.
It sounds good. So I might want a case of that.
Okay. This one is Home Sweet Home. And this was one of my first ones that I developed, when I first started. And my sister has two sons, 7 years apart. One was away at college, and all three of them, it didn't get along well, And he was coming home from college, and she says, "Do you have any of that aromatherapy? You might try." I said, "Well, let me think." So I made this up, sent it to her for Thanksgiving weekend.
Oh, which is the weekend she really needed.
Yes, and she sprayed it, and she called me Sunday night and said, he's coming. He had such a good time. He's coming back home for 2 weeks at Christmas. Can you send me 2 more bottles? And so I figure if it would help that, it would help with that. It works.
Okay.
And then the last one they brought with me is Prosperity Mist, which I'm going to give to you.
Okay.
And this, I actually developed this sort of as a lark. I was taking like a class on witchcraft, it was like so weird. It was fun. It was fun because it really isn't what people thought, But at the end we had to come up with something, like a little spell. And so I made a Prosperity Mist. And almost everyone in that class owned their own businesses. And they all got some of it and they all used it. And none of them went out of business until they were ready to retire.
Wow.
So that made me feel pretty good. And the first person,
it has working proof.
Yeah. And the first lady who bought some, that afternoon she had lunch with her dad, and he had never given her any money before because he didn't like her husband, and he gave her a check for $1,000. And so I thought, wow, I got to really sell this.
Spray that right now.
So here's for you.
I'm going to spray it right now.
Yeah, decorate it. And then we do sell a lot of creams. A lot of my business actually is personalized.
I'm spraying it now.
A lot of our business is personalized. Like I'll make perfume for weddings. Thank you. It's got a lot of basil and it's a nice uplifting and stuff.
I already feel rich.
Oh, great! That's a good sign. And then I have like an aches and pains cream, which is sort of for like arthritis, and then a super pain relief for people that have like other kinds of pain stuff, like a nerve pain. So those are our main products. Though we do sell a lot of other things.
Very good, very good. So I've learned a lot.
Great.
What I want to ask you is, do you have any advice or suggestions? Because you were working for IBM. You decided you didn't like the politics and you wanted to do something on your own, and that's how you started your business, which is very successful. Do you have any advice maybe for some of the women or men that are listening that may want some information on how to get started in their own business?
Yeah, I do. I really love helping people start their own business. First off, like after I decided to open mine, I still worked 2.5 years at IBM. So because you don't want to just stop everything and start a business.
Yeah, you need a transition period.
You do. Yeah. You really do. And that's why so many businesses go out of business in the first couple of years.
Right.
Because they haven't allowed for that. And also, if you're not working at a regular job getting your income, then you're working in desperation, which is never good. And it comes across to your clients. Do something that would be your hobby if you weren't doing it.
Right.
Because if you don't love it with a passion and want to do it, if you're just doing it for the money, it's not going to work.
And it's not fun.
It's not fun. And then you might as well have stayed in a corporate life or something else because you're not having fun.
Right. So, okay. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we're very excited. And give us your website one more time.
Okay, it's Subtle Energies Health, all one long word. Subtle is spelled S-U-B-T-L-E. And energies plural, E-N-E-R-G-I-E-S, health.com.
Okay. Very good.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for coming. And thank you all for tuning in. And we make a program that's designed with women in mind and for men who love their women. So join us.
Thank you.
Thank you.